And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Don't forget, promote our schools, secure our future. Brought to you by Pacific Automation, now in Boise. Pacific Automation, problem solved, pacificoffice.com. So a big day today on the program. We're going to give away a pair of tickets between now and 6:30 to the PBR event. These are for the tickets Saturday night, the toughest sport on dirt. Caller number 6, when you hear me say, call in now at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, and you'll get a chance to win those tickets. Caller 6 to the PBR from your friends here at the Kevin Miller Show. And we thank you for listening on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, the old KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now from the Clarion Project, she's an advisory board member, Raheel Raza, one more time. Good to have you back.
Thank you. How are you?
Not bad. Certainly a lot of issues going on in the Middle East, whether it's our continuing issues with Iran or this issue involving Saudi Arabia and the country
the disappeared journalist
and the country of Turkey. So it's great that Rayamaya has you on today. So Raheel, let's start with this. What is our relationship with the Saudis? We think they're our friends. Are they?
Well, that's, what we call a very incestuous relationship. You never really know whether they're friends or not. Now, of course, there's a lot of vested interest, and I say vested in inverted commas in terms of money invested in the United States. And so that speaks for a lot. They have always had huge investments. And their relationship is open to a lot of questions. So we have to wait and see how this is going to pan out.
You're right about that. So let's talk a little bit about Turks. Are we friends with the Turks? They are a NATO ally.
Yes, but they have gone rogue. So one has to be, again, careful. I mean, Turkey, when you say, are we friends? As a Muslim reformer, we used to look up to Turkey because Turkey was the country where there was hope because, this is a country where the mullahs had at one point in history been defeated. It was modern. It was coming up in the world. And I've actually physically traveled there a couple of times to see how pluralistic it was. And then you have Erdogan, who wants to take Turkey back to and make it a caliphate. So when you have leaders, religious leaders or Muslim leaders, who want to make their countries into caliphates, we always have to be cautious. So, and the country is a powerful, Turkey is a powerful country in that area, but it plays games as well. So we have to be careful about who we call our allies or not.
Well, and having traveled to Turkey a few times and seen the Church of Santa Sophia, the Blue Mosque,
yes,
the Grand Bazaar, people don't understand that the Turkish people, they're fierce, but they love America. And you have this guy named Ataturk who really had the model for the world where it was a secular government. It was pro-West, and people don't understand how crucial Turkey has been to us for many, many years. And, is it Europe? Is it Asia? It's right at the crossroads. It's the old Ottoman Empire.
Absolutely. It's a little bit of both. And yes, it is very crucial. But then, the leadership needs to be pluralistic and not going back in history towards the 7th century. So, some of the rules that Erdogan has put into place are very troubling. And he plays very vicious games. So we have to stand back and watch and see how this is going to impact our relationship with him.
Well, what is our relationship with the overall Muslim world? Because you can't vilify everyone. And you have some people that do. And then on the other hand, you have people that want to kill us. So, Raheel, please educate us here on KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, the regime in Iran has always called the United States the Great Satan. And, not always, but, since the revolution and since Ayatollah Khomeini came, the United States became the Great Satan. And it's interesting, when we talk about Iran, we have to separate the people of Iran and the regime. The regime is absolutely evil, oppresses its own people. The people of Iran, and I understand a large number of them are very young, they like America. There's nothing that they want more than to be as free as the people of the United States. But, they don't have much of a voice because as soon as they speak out, they're either arrested or jailed or tortured. So this is a very troubling issue in that area of the world. And of course, the hatred for United States is only coupled by the hatred for Israel. So that's one situation. Now, since President Trump came into power and he went and visited the Muslim countries, sort of tapped them on the hand and said, shape up your situation and clean up your home. There has been a change, I believe, in relationships that are not as rocky as they used to be, because they understand that there is somebody who's watching them and telling them to clean up their act. But you were right; the entire Muslim world is not rogue; it is individual leaderships and theocracies. So Saudi Arabia is one, Iran is one. We have problems in Pakistan, but that does not, make the people of those countries en masse anti-American or extremists or terrorists. They are people who are very fond of the United States and would like to have a good relationship, including my country of birth. I mean, Pakistan, since the day that it was created, has depended on the United States for its financial support and a lot of other support as well. So
Right.
we see the situation in the Middle East as being rocky at best and changing alliances when Russia puts pressure. I understand that Iran and Russia are now very pally-pally. So,
Let
let
me jump in for a minute and remind people they're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Raheel Raza joining us from the Clarion Project. So what about the Russians? What are they doing in there?
They will come in any place where they can wield their power and control. And, they've created a lot of trouble in Syria and Yemen and, in these areas in the Middle East. And they are now pally-pally with Iran and have said, don't worry, if nobody else wants to do business with you as usual, we will do that. So, as I said, these are very insidious games of political power. But the main issue with Iran and its regime, because it is the only regime today, I think, that will oppress its minority communities, that oppresses and, persecutes the LGBTQ community, where women are arrested for a simple thing like uncovering their hair on the street. So this regime is problematic and needs to go, and the people have said that.
I'm with you. And, I think our relationship with the Iranians, it's like the star-crossed lovers. We had Pastor Saeed here, and he was held by the Iranians for years, tortured and such, and they finally released him, and he's back to ministering his faith. But and personally, in 2008, I came within a couple months of going to Iran because, that was before Crazy Mahmoud's second revolution where they almost overthrew him. And you had journalists, this guy from Yahoo went in there and a couple others. Of course, when they go in, like a Ted Koppel, you've got your own security force. But before that last uprising, it seemed like things were thawing. And then you had Obama just let the Iranian people out to dry.
Well, Obama and his policy of appeasement very kindly returned billions of dollars back to Iran, not understanding that they were going into the coffers of the regime. They were not being filtered down to the people who are still suffering. But the difference between that time and now is that the people of Iran have spoken, and the best revolutions come when the people themselves rise up. And even though there is a clampdown on social media and news getting out of Iran, we work with the dissidents and the resistance movement, and we understand that all across the country of Iran, from the smallest towns to the largest cities, people are rebelling against this corrupt regime, and they're saying they want change. So hopefully that change will come with the support of, those of us living in the West, where we have these cherished freedoms, and we are able to say, yes, we support the people of Iran.
So back to the situation finally. We only hear about the Iranians when they're up to no good in the Persian Gulf and such. What are your thoughts on what we can expect within the next month or 3 months here?
Well, the sanctions are being tightened, and we can expect a lot of backlash from the regime because they are now finding themselves with their back against the wall, and they are lashing out in every way they can. They want to make all these deals with other countries as well. But what we need to see is more European leaders also following Trump's decision. You see, they want to do business as usual with a regime that is so corrupt and that has documented human rights violations. I mean, don't take my word for it. These have been documented by Amnesty International, by the United Nations. So
Sure.
These leaders in the West need to say we do not do business with a regime that has such an abysmal human rights record. And that should, put them in a situation, put Iran, the regime, in a situation where they have no choice but to clean up their act.
Yeah, I think that's easier said than done. It's going to take somebody to overthrow the mullahs. Raheel, finally, back to the Saudis. How do you think this plays out with the journalist that was killed? And
allegedly, they say. Yes.
No. But here, let me jump in, and I'm not taking sides here, but look at how quick our press is to condemn the Saudis. Look at how our press jumps to allegations. It's the press that fuels this story. And unfortunately, not to diminish the fact, journalists are killed every day in the line of duty or allegedly killed or what have you. Is it our business to jump in? I don't know. But internationally, from your perspective, how do you see this story developing, if at all?
Well, you read and hear about all sorts of different perspectives. That he was torn in the side of the Saudi regime, but whatever the issue, they need to find out what happened to him. I mean, to kill a person is a horrible thing, and this is a violation of human rights, and this whole story is about human rights. Of course, it's now being played out politically, and it's very interesting. We were just talking about Iran. Iran hasn't made an absolute squawk about this issue. They have not said a word. Because, they would love to see Saudi Arabia squirm. So this is how they play the game. It's something that's very horrifying. We're living in 2018. We're not living in the dark ages, but what happened to this poor man is pretty much like what used to happen in the dark ages. And, it should be uncovered, which should be made transparent. For the sake of clarity, that's what we need is the true story of what happened, not just ideas about what might have happened.
All right, Raheel, you stay out of trouble.
I'll try.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. You take care.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, 580-5436. 580 KIDO. By the way, another attempt at writing on KIDO Talk Radio where we say Paulette Jordan is not ready for prime time. And it's funny, the audience on social media, on our Facebook page, very different from, well, somewhat different. I've got a guy going, you're not a journalist, you're this. Look, the opinion is, look, if anybody watched that debate, and I'm sure you and I and my three little doggies were it, but her just whole vibe is out of whack when she calls Brad Little her predecessor. Now, if Brad Little had said that, there'd be ads running, there'd be journalists after him saying he's out of touch. Why do the libs continue to cover up for Paulette Jordan? Let's go to the phones. We're going to go to Big Jack, or we'll just say Jack in somewhere. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. You're traveling in from Fruitland. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for your show. We don't usually hear you because we're not up this time of day, but today my wife, Mary Jane, and I are on the road, and what a cheerleader you've been for us. First of all, you alerted us to a traffic tie-up that we can avoid. Secondly, we're on the way to the Brad Little bus traveling the state of Idaho campaigning for Brad and team.
Well, it's going to be outstanding. You've got a lot of state candidates today. It's certainly, I know they'll love having you there.
Oh, well, I pull our weight. We passed 80, so we're going to have to do our best. But it's a fun bunch to be with. It's a positive program, and you put it well. you've got to have a plan that you can share with others if you expect support.
No, Jack, I totally agree with you on that. And if you ever hear Brad Little, he's got the experience. He has the details, and it's very obvious. That was not an easy primary for anybody. He won.
Yes, I agree. He ran a tough race and we've known Brad and Teresa for some time, so it's no surprise to us that he has everything in place and ready for this responsibility.
Well, thank you very much, Jack, and thank you for the kind comments and for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. R&R, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Oh, Maestro, your voice. I love the inflection in your voice and when you do your spontaneous laughter. Hey, I'm certain that it was more than just you and your 3 Dachshunds that tuned in, but you do your homework well. Here, I want to embrace, I never left my Oregon. Oregon left me. Right now, I'm certain that there's a fine young man who's a pediatric surgeon who resides in Lane County and practices his gifts as a surgeon in both Deschutes County and Lane County, and his name would be Newt Butler, Butler. Yeah, I'm sure he has. I haven't even dialed in. I just know from my sources from that region, essentially, I just do watershed, so nautically. And I know our voices can't carry that far, so what I advocate is that you, I hope, you're so connected even to Istanbul, that you could contact Mr. Newt and let everybody from Deschutes County to, the Jordan Valley, the Klamath Falls, to the border. I hope we don't leave any of them out when we build the wall, my friend. The election in Oregon is so important. That governor, oh my gosh, I'll lay it down in 2 minutes. I had 30 years experience with Kitzhaber, and it seems like yesterday, 25 years ago, he fell terribly because he was an adulterer. And if you look at his history, he went from being an emergency room surgeon to just a harlot, and that ugly person in the realm of evil in Oregon right now is the first human being to come out openly and show herself as the first governor who's bisexual, and she's nothing less than the most evil leftist pinko commie ever invented for the Oregon watershed. Let your heart not be troubled, my friend, and if you buy dog food, guarantee you'll go to Zanzo's. They have the finest food for Mazarine.
We love you, R&R. We thank you for that. We love the Zamzo's coming up. Good news, Treasure Valley. And your chance to win tickets to see the PBR, that's coming up. This weekend, we're going to be at the College of Western Idaho. That'll be Friday. Looking forward to seeing all of our friends, promoting our school, securing our future. Brought to you by CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, and Pacific Automation, now in Boise. Pacific Automation, problem solved. PacificOffice.com. And don't forget, today at 7:35, Bill O'Reilly will be joining us to talk about the president, his new book, and his future. A lot going on this morning. Keep it here, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Nothing but good times. Kevin Miller in the morning, spinning the hits. Ray Amaya with us. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Why don't we do this? Caller 6 right now. You're going to win a pair of passes to the Saturday show with the professional bull riders. They're going to be at the Ford Idaho Center. We would love to send you our little way of saying thank you for listening. Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. That is caller 6. You're going to win a pair of tickets. Good luck. And speaking of good luck, there's one young lady that needs some good luck, and now Channel 7 is on the case. They're investigating Paulette Jordan's campaign, and how dare they spend money in Wyoming. And get this, they hired a Republican. Details now on KIDO Talk Radio.
Gubernatorial candidate has a lot of typical things on here, like food, Ubers, flights, hotel stays. She also spent tens of thousands of dollars on political consulting firms, campaign reporting, fundraising efforts, and digital services. This report shows over the summer, Jordan was traveling and spending money out of state a lot, to places like D.C., Washington State, and California. Some are pointing to the $20,000 paid to Roughneck Steering Inc. in August and September. Created July of this year, Roughneck is listed at the same mail forwarding address in Wyoming as the super PAC we reported Jordan's campaign has ties to.
Welcome to the Idaho debates.
In Monday night's Idaho public TV debate, a Statesman reporter questioned her about it.
Honestly, everything that we have, all of the reports, the contracts, everything has been above ground, and it's as reported, and it's already been filed. So everyone is allowed to gather that information, just like you have.
Okay, but specifically, my questions were, who owns Roughneck Steering? And these are questions I have asked of you and your staff and campaign and have not been answered. So specifically, I'll repeat again.
I asked Jordan's communications director to shed light on all this. Dana Ferris says Roughneck is a contracted independent Republican polling firm that's anti-Brad Little. It was only formed to work on Jordan's campaign, and they've asked for anonymity. Reports show the campaign paid $10,000 in late August to another Wyoming company called DBMS Inc., which records show Jordan's campaign manager, Nate Kelly, is president of. The company was just reinstated in August after being dissolved last year. Ferris says before Nate Kelly became campaign manager, he was hired as an outside legal consultant, and DBMS was helping with insurance and staffing. Also, companies called Parasue Group, KBPO, and Hayes Place, LLC, are all registered to the same address.
You know, isn't this weird? It's just like Obama with the Jordan campaign. By the way, thank you very much for everybody calling in. Unfortunately, you lost, but I don't know how to say this. Congratulations to Pamela in Boise. Now, keep it here. Coming up next hour, or next half hour, we'll have a chance for you to win another pair of tickets to the PBR. But congratulations, Pamela in Boise. Now, you're listening to this report, and it just gets kind of crazy. We're going to continue on with that in a minute. But because of the PBR and we're just going crazy, let's get you to traffic and weather together.
Rick Everett.
107.5 FM, 580 AM, your home for the talk of the Treasure Valley. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Out to Jeff Manasso, Fox News Radio, with the very latest concerning Amazon, and we're not talking shopping, we're talking national security. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
Not bad. So we've got the Amazon founder saying that he's going to cooperate with the government?
Yeah, so Jeff Bezos has distinguished his company, Amazon, when he founded, from other big tech firms in declaring his willingness to work with the federal government in bidding for a 10-year contract with the Department of Defense known as the Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure Project, or JEDI. And basically he's offering billions of dollars worth of cloud computing services, an artificial intelligence project to put a single cloud provider in charge of a ton of top-secret military and defense data that can be used in real time anywhere from the Pentagon all the way to the battlefield anywhere in the world to speed the flow of data and analysis to combat troops to keep them safe.
Boy, that is a break from other tech giants, right?
So Google removed its bid for JEDI last week, citing ethical concerns and uncertainty about the project regarding whether it'd be able to even meet the Pentagon's security requirements for JEDI. Microsoft employees also urged that company not to take the deal, citing similar ethical concerns over this type of data. Though Jeff Bezos, as you mentioned, said that if tech companies, just last week or so at an event in San Francisco, said that if tech companies turn their back on the Department of Defense, that the country's going to be in trouble. And these tech companies, these big, giant tech companies, they've cornered the market. They've got the ability to do it. $10 billion over 10 years, it's nothing for these tech companies. So it's really basically a service that they're providing. They've got the capability and the assets to be able to do this. And so Bezos is all in.
Boy, it is amazing when you think of just how big and lucrative these tech companies are. It goes back to, how big the automakers were 100 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's where we're going, and it's massive. And I remember Paul Allen went up to Bill Gates at one point back in the 1970s. Bill Gates just wrote this amid Paul Allen's death, and he met up with Gates, who was going to college at the time, and he showed him a magazine cover of this computer that came out, and he said, "Look, this is happening without us," and that's what got Bill Gates into the business. He said, basically, if Paul Allen didn't do that, we wouldn't have Microsoft, and look what happened to that company and where they went on. Look at Facebook. Look at Amazon. Started out of the garage. Google. I mean, this is where we're going. Technology, computers, technology, and in terms of computer warfare. Chinese government obviously working overtime to try and combat us in terms of technology. Even accused of taking our stuff in terms of intellectual property. You've heard President Trump talking about Space Force because that's where we're going in terms of technology, and we have to defend ourselves. And so Jeff Bezos, a pioneer in this business, and I think he's the richest guy in the world now. Of course, when the Scots. What's that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
So, when stocks go up and down, a couple percentage points, he could lose, $5-10 billion in a day, or gain $5-10 billion in a day. That's how rich this guy is. So he wants to do what he says is right. Though we should also note, Kevin, that, tech experts say that the classification standards of JEDI, this project, appear to be wired specifically for Amazon. Which officials with the IT Acquisition Advisory Council say is Amazon far ahead of the rest of the industry when it comes to hosting this type of classified data. Congress has also been skeptical about the acquisition, its purposes and effects, and demanded a mandatory review. It got a package of information submitted back in May.
Jeff Monosso, we always appreciate you. Thank you for being so patient with us this morning, sir.
You bet. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Our great friend Jeff Monosso, Kevin Miller in the morning here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So we will do this again. Caller 6 between now and 7 o'clock. You're going to win a pair of passes to the toughest sport on dirt. That's right. 2 tickets to the PBR for the Saturday night show. Caller 6 when we give you the cue to call, which will mean me saying, hey, call in right now. Now, earlier, if you're just tuning in, we were going over a story by Channel 7 concerning, well, can we call her Shady Paulette Jordan? Is that out of line to say Shady Paulette Jordan? She doesn't disclose who's funding her campaign, where the money's coming from, hiring Republicans, out-of-state Republicans, not even good Idaho Republicans. And, you've got Channel 7 there on the case to find out the answers. I love this. We've got all these companies from California. I mean, is she running for the governorship of California or Idaho?
Was helping with insurance and staffing. Also, companies called Parasu Group, KBPO, and Hayes Place, LLC, are all registered to the same address in Novato, California. The campaign spent about $5,200 with those businesses, but I can't find filings with the California Secretary of State's office. WePAC, LLC, an accounting and political finance...
No, this is also very confusing. Wasn't it our friends, the libs... with Barack Obama, I'm going to have the most transparent presidency ever. And was it? No. Paulette Jordan, I'm going to have my campaign is transparent. Talk to my predecessor. Okay. Your campaign's not transparent, and Brad Little's not your predecessor. Do we have to correct you, Madam Governor?
Finance business, also at that same address, got more than $8,000 from Jordan. Dana Ferris tells me major campaigns are complex and involve a lot of travel and hiring different subcontractors.
And look, this young lady, a local product, Morgan Morrison, a very, very outstanding reporter. We will see her in the big show one day. But I love this. Very fair, very objective. But I'm sitting there. I love this. The campaign manager says, well, it's a very complex thing. You don't have this issue with Brad Little. You don't have this issue with Brad Little. Full transparency. It's just crazy.
contractors to handle polling and staffing. She echoed what Jordan said yesterday during the debate. The campaign has been, quote, above board at every step.
Of course, as you heard yesterday here on KIDO Talk Radio, Jordan couldn't answer any questions. Jordan could not answer any questions on this. Well, we shall see how it plays out, right? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning. Don't forget, coming up on Thursday, we're going to be at Ed's 50s Cafe. We're going to be there giving away tickets to the PBR, hanging out, having a good time, and, talking about the PBR, Western values, Meridian, and everything else. Going to be a good time. We hope that you'll join us there. Coming up, the latest on the Idaho Fish and Game Commissioner. He resigned, and then Governor Otter said he didn't represent Idaho values. Idaho values, there we have it, when it comes to hunting and fishing. And I know we have a lot of people that hunt and fish that are real men and women and not like Kevin Miller, who plays one on the radio. So we'll get your thoughts on that, on how appropriate it is to take your pictures and send them out at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, when we're taking a look at this. By the way, Good News Treasure Valley, brought to you by Zamzows. Their 86th anniversary sale going on now at all 12 Zamzows. Did you know that you can save 20% on pet food and supplies, lawn and garden, wild bird, and much, much more? Now the sale ends October 21st, so shop today at all Treasure Valley Zamzows. Please tell them KIDO Talk Radio's Kevin Miller sent you. Now, good news of the Treasure Valley might be a little different. We've got the Statesman reporting today that Meridian City Council makes a decision on the revised Costco design. And Costco proposed a new warehouse on Chittenden Boulevard and 10 Mile in Meridian. The neighbors had some issues with it, so now they're looking at another revised design. Now, why is that good news? Because, let's face it, and this was brought up at the gubernatorial debate the other night, people are yapping about too much business, too much industry, too many homes. You're driving around last night, as I was, trying to get from Franklin to Chittenden, and then some in the city of in the GC, Garden City. Took me an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's like Seattle. Let's bring back our Treasure Valley. More on that in a minute. You're listening to Kevin Miller. Our time is 6:48 on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. And rolling right along, why don't we start with this? Caller 6. Man, where is the hour gone? Caller 6, you're going to win tickets, a pair of tickets to see the PBR Saturday night, courtesy of good old K. Millie on the Kevin Miller Show. Caller 6, 580-5436. 580-KIDO. We would love for you to be a part of the PBR, the toughest sport on dirt. And coming up next hour, it's going to be a big one. There's a new caravan coming to America, and it ain't looking good for us. We'll have some in-depth team coverage on that. And Bill O'Reilly, one of the great heroes of the conservative movement. One of the great things that I love about Bill O'Reilly is he always talked about money and, what is too much money? Now, a lot of people say, Kevin, it's never enough. Look at medical, look at dental, look at healthcare, look at housing. It's never enough. But he always had that wonderful perspective. He's going to be talking about his new book, Killing the SS, and we're just going to find out how evil the SS were and how they hunted those folks down. By the way, are you a millionaire? Let's find out from our own Carmen Roberts. Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Carmen?
No one matched all six numbers in last night's Mega Millions jackpot for what was $667 million. So the jackpot rolls over for an estimated $868 million on Friday. That stands as the second largest jackpot in U.S. history behind the Powerball's nearly $1.6 billion, won by 3 ticket holders in January 2016. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
So there we have it. Legalized gambling prevails. Anyway, phone numbers. What is that? What they call it? FOMA? FOMO? No, not that word. FOMO. Not that word. FOMO. Fear of missing out, right? And then that just aids the folks at the Mega Millions. You don't want to miss out. In fact, I have a friend of mine. He's always saying, Kevin, I win the lottery. I'm coming in. I'm picking up you, Mrs. Miller, the little Millies. and you're out. And I said, well, maybe we could buy the radio station. I think we all have dreams of that. Now, most people that win the lottery, they go broke, which is sad. Maybe they are too busy pulling the MC Hammer. And what MC Hammer did was he paid for all his friends, family, and relatives, and then he went broke. But I've often said that if I won the lottery, I'd buy the radio station and I'd keep everybody employed, but they'd have to have a dress code. And that would mean they'd all have to dress up as superheroes. I kind of like that. They dress up as superheroes more. Thankfully, I don't think winning the Mega Millions is in my future. By the way, we do have a winner for the PBR tickets. Spencer in Caldwell. Congratulations. You're going to go see the PBR, courtesy of the Kevin Miller Show. Thank you, Spencer, for listening. Please enjoy those tickets to the PBR on Saturday night. Traffic and weather together.
Let's recover.
Thank you very much, Larry. Let's see if I can get this again. It's always these buttons that get me. I apologize for this.
Really learned is I never knew how dishonest the media was. I really mean it. I'm not saying that as a soundbite. I never knew how dishonest.
I'm going to change the subject again.
Well, no, but even the way you asked me a question, like about separation.
Yeah.
When I say Obama did it, you don't want to talk about it.
No.
When I say I did it, let's make a big deal.
I'm going to run your answer, but you did it 4 times.
I'm just telling you that you treated me much differently on the subject.
I disagree, but I don't want to have that fight with you.
Hey,
we're having another fight with you.
Leslie, it's okay. In the meantime, I'm president and you're not.
That clip never gets tired of olding. Hey, you want of never gets old, right? Olding. Anyway, one of those days. By the way, you want to keep it here. Coming up next hour, they're back. A new caravan of invaders coming into America. They're coming in from Central America. Why? Because we haven't done anything with the other people that have come into the country illegally. What about building that wall, Mr. Trump? And by the way, who's looking out for you? Boom! Bill O'Reilly joins us next hour. It's going to be great. Hope you can stay with us. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.